Welcome to BomiChess. Today we're gonna talk about traps in King's Gambit. Traps and mistakes played by the opponents. So King's Gambit is one of the oldest openings in chess. We have it first time it's written in 1497 book, the oldest book in chess. So this was very popular during 19th century when in Romantic chess, when this attacking style was was a thing back then, and it was very popular. So the King's Gambit goes like this: white plays e4, black plays e5, and after this we have this f4. So white is giving up the pawn. If black decides to take the pawn, this is King's Gambit accepted. And if black decides not to take it, if he plays something like bishop to c5, this is King's Gambit declined. So white is giving up the pawn so that it has more control of the center squares. So okay, we'll have few positions today, so let's see the first one. Okay, here white plays e4, e5 and f4. After this black played pawn takes on f4, so this is King's Gambit accepted. And here white plays this knight to f3. So white is controlling these two squares, so the queen cannot go to h4 and giving check to the white king. So here black played g5. This pawn is now protecting this pawn, so black wants to hold this pawn that he just captured. And white plays bishop to c4. Putting the light square bishop on this diagonal and also aiming for this f7 square. And here black is trying to protect this pawn here. So white takes opportunity and plays this pawn to h4. Now attacking this pawn here. And the threat is, if black doesn't do anything about it, next move white is going to capture this pawn. And black cannot recapture it because the pawn is pinned to the rook. So here black tries to play pawn to f6. He tries to protect this pawn once more. But this is a mistake, this is a blunder, and it leads to advantage for white. So if you want, you can try to pause the video here and try to find the move that that is the best for white in this situation. Good luck. Okay, and the move here is knight to e5. So sacrificing the knight, but at what cost? If black decides to take the knight, if he captures the knight, now this queen is free to go to h5 because the knight just moved from f3 square. Queen to h5 check. And now this king must move because it doesn't have any piece that can protect it. King to e7 and then queen to f7 check. This bishop is guarding it. So there's only one square for the king. King to d6 and now queen to d5 check. Only one square left for the king. King must go to e7 and now queen takes on e5 checkmate. This square is guarded by the bishop. So black cannot take this knight. So let's see what else. After this knight to e5, the only defense against this queen to h5 is actually to play this pawn to h5. But after this, white has this tactic, knight to f7. It's attacking the queen and the rook here. So if you don't want to lose the queen, queen to e7, and after this, white can simply take this rook. And now his whole rook up, and the problem is that you cannot capture this knight because this bishop is still guarding this diagonal and this f7 square. And if black tries to be clever here and plays queen takes on e4, so now it's giving check and attacking the bishop as well. Now the simple move, queen here, queen to e2, and it's pinning the queen to the king, so it's gonna force the trade the queens. So this is lost for black, and white is winning here. So the second position goes like this: e4, e5, and then f4, King's Gambit. And here black plays this bishop to c5. So King's Gambit declined. It's aiming for this square. White plays this knight to f3. And now we have this pawn to d6, protecting this pawn in the center. White plays pawn to c3, is preparing this d4. And we have this queen on e7. So this queen is now on the same line as white king. So if there is some trade here, queen can aim for this pawn and attacking the king. White doesn't pay attention to this. White plays d4. And now we have this takes, and here black thinks that he achieved something as he took the pawn on e4, which is a mistake. King to f2, and after this bishop is attacked, so bishop goes back to b6, and now white has the move that is going to give him advantage, and white is going to give to win the game. So if you want, you can pause the video and try to find the best move for white here. Okay, I hope that you found the move, and the move is bishop to b5, check. And now let's see what happens. If black tries to prevent this by playing, for example, this pawn to c6, now we have this rook to e1, and it's pinning this queen to the king, so the queen is going to get captured in the next move. So if you want to try to avoid that, we need to move the king. So if black tries to play something like king to d8, now the same move is still applicable, rook to e1, and now queen is attacked. So for example, if we move the queen to f5, now we have this rook to e8, checkmate. So this bishop is guarding the rook and this square, and this is guarded by the rook, so black king is trapped and it's checkmate here. So this is how white wins in this position. So next position goes like this: e4, e5, then f4, so we have king's gambit, and it's accepted. So pawn takes on f4, and we have this bishop to c4, taking this diagonal and attacking this f7 square. So now we have this queen to h4, attacking the king, it's checking the king. So we have king to f1, and now this bishop to c5. So black is already trying to give the checkmate to white king, and white prevents this by playing d4, attacking the bishop as well. So bishop to b6, and now we have this knight to f3, attacking black's queen. And here, if queen moves to this g4, now white has these beautiful tactics. Bishop takes on f7, check. And what's the reason for it? If the king tries to take this bishop, now we have this simple knight to e5, attacking giving the check to the king and attacking the queen as well. So next move we are going to pick up the queen. And also it's discovered the queen is here also attacking the queen. So black is not allowed to take this bishop. If he plays something like king to e7, now we can see that this black queen is almost trapped here. It doesn't have any square left to go. This is protected by the bishop, and these two as well. This is guarded by the pawn here. These two are guarded by the knight, and these two are guarded by the pawns here. So next move that white is going to play is gonna be pawn to h3, attacking the queen. So there's only one square left, this one that this pawn just abandoned. So queen to g3, and after this white has a good move, actually a great move that is going to allow him to win the game. If you want to try to find that move, you can pause the video and try to find it. Good luck. So okay, the move here is knight to c3, and what it does is actually preparing knight to e2 in the next move, attacking the queen and capturing it eventually. So if here black tries to play something like king takes this bishop here in order to also give the space for black's queen, it doesn't work because still knight to e2, attacking the queen, so the only square left, queen to g6, and now this knight still goes to e5, check, and attacking the queen, and in the next move the knight is going to pick up the queen and white is going to win the game. And the fourth position, we are going to look at it from the black side because white is going to be trapped. So let's see how it goes. e4, e5, pawn to f4, king's gambit, and here it's declined. So black plays this pawn to d5, attacking this pawn, and also this is counter gambit. So white takes this pawn on d5, and we have pawn to c6. And here we have queen to e2. So now this queen is attacking this pawn and putting on the same line as this black king. So here black plays this pawn takes on d5. It's not paying attention to this queen takes on e5. So white takes this pawn, and here black plays the move bishop to e7, allowing white queen to take this pawn here, because that was the whole idea of the move. White wants to take this pawn and take the rook as well. And here white plays this move. It takes the pawn on g7, but it allows black to win the game. So if you want, you can try to find the winning move or the winning combination of moves. Good luck. Okay, I hope that you found at least the first one, the first move. The first move is bishop to f6, attacking the queen. So now this bishop is protected by the queen and by the knight as well. And the rook is protected by the bishop, and this knight is protected by the rook. So black queen cannot take anything. And these squares are all protected by the black pieces. This bishop is guarding this g4, and this is guarded by the pawns and the bishop. So the only square for white queen is actually to go to d3, but after this one, when white thinks that is out of the danger, we have this bishop to h4. And now this queen is protecting the bishop, and bishop is pinning the queen to the king, and next move black is going to capture the white's queen. So I hope that you liked today's traps in King's Gambit. Write down in the comments what you think about today's video, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!